Today we're going to be discussing the fighters of each division that I would not want to fight. Now, let me get this straight initially. I do not currently train. I am not a very good fighter at all. And I don't want to fight any of these guys at all. Any singular guy in the UFC. Let me clarify, if you see this in the UFC, this is not me saying that I want to fight you at all. But these are the guys in each division that I absolutely would not have to fight. The guys that before the fight in the locker room I'd be throwing up. I'd be telling my coach that I want to quit. It's the guys that the UFC called me and asked me if I want to fight that guy, and I've miraculously come up with a knee injury that needs 7 months to recover. And I'm going to go through every division and pick out one fighter from each one that I definitely wouldn't want to scrap with. And let's start off with the flyweight division. I've gone with the one and only Manel Kape. Now, a lot of you probably agree with me on this one, just because if I was to be fighting Manel Kape, now to give you some background, I'm about like 5'10", maybe 5'11" on a good day, and with Manel Kape, I'm probably about 15, 20 pounds heavier than him. I'd be like a 135 to 145 or so. And Manel Kape is a little bit smaller than me, but he would genuinely style on me. Manel Kape is so fast. And if I'm sort of going to describe myself, I'm like a Cheeto Vera with no kicking ability. So it's like trudging forward, ploddy, coming forward, not really too much on the feet. Maybe a 1-2 here and there. And Manel Kape, he would be on the outside. He would see my ploddy man's footwork coming forward, and he would be able to slip and rip and just absolutely make me he would be able to ping my head around the octagon. And the thing is that the way that Manel Kape tracks people down, like you saw in the Brandon Royval fight, which he's almost around my height and build, but Brandon Royval, he was sort of like scarpering away, like timid on the outside. Imagine if it was me. I would literally be running around the octagon like Cedric Dumas when he's got some sort of imposing figure around him. And the other thing is with Manel Kape is that when I'm scarpering around, sort of like Asu Almabayev would, he's going to be coming around for those hook eye pokes. Like, that's going to be scratching up against my eye. He's going to be pretending nothing happened as well once he does gouge my eyes out. And the thing is that I'm just going to be running around the octagon, praying not to get chinned out cold, and also having to watch my eyes. It's going to be the worst type of defense. I'm not even going to be able to see Manel Kape. So it would be an awful fight, and I would hate every second of it. And even if I think about the leading up to the fight, before then, he is probably roasting me like no other. I know that his English is probably not as good as mine is. He is genuinely making me cry at the press conference. There are some insults that he will go so low below the belt. And he's going to accuse me of being part of city kickboxing. You know, he's going to call me the F-bomb. I'm not going to enjoy it. It's going to be all bad. There's not going to be a moment of success. And the thing is that, let's say I start pumping some jabs out there, feeling myself a little bit, maybe throw a crafty little leg kick. He is just going to style on me and get annoyed and just absolutely smoke me. And I could see him having an Israel Adesanya type celebration against me. And it would just be awful in every moment. I was thinking about going Charles Johnson for the flyweight division, but I think of myself as a bit of a crafty young prospect, and maybe if Charles Johnson did slime me out, I wouldn't end up coming up to the top of the flyweight division. I'd have to cut some weight, but maybe cut a leg off as well. But I think that would be Charles Johnson. He is a little bit too nice as well. I don't think he would be as rude as Manel Kape whilst he's just absolutely beating me into the octagon side. So for the flyweight division, the one I'd least likely want to fight would be Manel Kape. Now, moving on to the bantamweights, there was a couple I was considering here, but I had to just go with the classic in Merab Dvalishvili. Now, the second placing would have been Piotr Yan, but I think he would fold me like a lawn chair a little bit too early. And I think Merab, he would figure out real quick that I'm not putting him out. I'm not going to hurt him at any point. And he would just be able to humiliate me over the 5 rounds. And it would probably be about a minute and 20 seconds in. He's got 7 takedowns already. And I would be like a fish out of water. He would be pinning me on the ground. I'd be flinging my arms around, my limbs around. It would just look terrible. And he would be laughing, looking up at the octagon, sticking his tongue out. And I'm just going to be lying on the ground, looking like I'm drowning. Maybe vomiting in the corner in between rounds. Maybe foaming at the mouth because I'm unable to breathe. It would be awful. It's like when you're a kid and let's say you're like a 5-year-old and a 10-year-old tries to bully you and pick on you. And it's sort of like if they get you onto the ground, maybe you're getting tickled by your older cousins or something like that. Not saying that happened to me at all, but Oh, that sounded really bad, but let's say that is the case. It's going to be like that, but for 25 minutes. These rabbit punching my forehead. I'm sitting there just having my head pinged around the octagon. And it's just going to be awful in every single moment. Let's say I make my way back up to the feet. I'm going to feel like a hero if I do. He is just going to slam me right back down. He might even let me get back up just to do it again, stare at the crowd, stick his tongue out, and I'm just going to be like, come on, man, give me a shot. I'll be in the corner like Denzel Freeman after his fight against Josh Hogan. Josh Hogan, all he needed to do was just go like this at the end of the round, and Denzel Freeman's just like cowering in the corner. That's going to be me against Merab, genuinely. And it won't even be at the end of the round. It'll be at every moment of the fight. He's probably talking to me. Maybe I think, oh, I've got him now. I'm going to craft up with some yarn elbows to the forearms. And he will just hoist me in the air, dunk me back down, scream at the crowd, laugh, look at Elon Musk, carry me over to Dana White. It would just be awful. Like, I could see it. I know he could submit me really quickly, but I just think he would make me, like, tap out with exhaustion and play with his food. It would just be... probably be traumatizing. I don't know if I could ever work through that ever again. Now, moving on to the next one in the featherweight division. I'm not just doing like ranked guys for this, by the way. Like, it's just stylistically whoever would make me feel the worst, whoever would beat me up the worst, whoever I'd leave the octagon feeling less of a man with. And the next one would be Larian the Gunslinger Douglas, newcomer in the UFC. I was thinking about doing either like a Gene Silver or Diego Lopez. Gene Silver would be painful just because of all of like the handshaking and all of that. But I think that they would finish me a little bit too like early and painlessly. It would be sort of like a one-shot KO Anshul Jubilee type win. But Larian Douglas versus Fight Mike would be literally like Larian Douglas versus Julian Erosa with no eyes. First jab, genuinely straight on the jaw, probably breaks my jaw. And then the next, like, couple of jabs, I'm running away. Like, you know when guys break their jaw and there's blood coming out of their mouth and they're, like, scarpering away? That would be me first punch. I would scrap back, like the absolute warrior that I am. Don't get me wrong, I am definitely scrapping back. Might even do a quick point down like Robert Valentin did against Otave Gautier. But then he would just straight up bulldoze me up against the cage. Maybe I would shoot my head in the floor trying to avoid the finish, but he would just flatline me with scary, like, ground and pound, probably some life-changing follow-up shots. It would just be sit down with a jab, similar to Julian Erosa, except I wouldn't sit down, like, as in fall back to the cage. I'd actually fall back onto my bum and, like, be wobbling around, like, on the floor. But then the ground and pound would genuinely put me out like no other. I'd be out for like 15 minutes. It would be scary and terrifying. My whole family would have to watch me just get Larian Douglas. The gunslinger would just absolutely take away every will I would have to live. And it would be an awful performance. No, it would be the type of fight that you would go back after and be like, how did this guy ever make it to the UFC? How did this guy even make it into the cage? So that would be a very humiliating performance. Now, onto another humiliating performance in the lightweight division. You may even be able to guess who I'm going to pick next. It's Bobby Green. Now, a lot of you are probably like typing in the comment section like, "Come on, man, you can't put Bobby Green over Ilia Topuria." I genuinely think Ilia would put me out in like 4 or 5 seconds. Like, it would be one shot. I would run in. It would sort of be like Forrest Griffin when he's coming up against Anderson Silva. I'd run towards Ilia like that. Maybe with a little bit more tucked chin and a little bit more technique because, you know, me and Forrest Griffin, levels between us. But Bobby Green, it would be different to Ilia because Ilia, I'd run towards him, just one shot, done. Bobby would change my life. Like, when we see Bobby Green being like a level or two above a guy like Daniel Zellhuber, he just puts a whooping on him like no other. Imagine me. Like, he'd be chatting to me the entire time, hands down, what? And I would just be coming towards him, throwing everything into these shots. And other people miss by like a little bit. And that's because they're fully trained. Like, they can make the millimeters. Me? Oh no. It would look so bad. Like, I would be missing. I don't even think he would have to do, you know how he like Matrix slips out the way of some shots? Probably wouldn't even have to do that. Like, he would just move like that and just straight past. And I'd do that like 7 or 8 times, 7-punch combination. I'm trying to go body, head. I miss every single one of them, and he just puts me down with the last shot. I'd probably start crying as well, because the entire time he'd be like, what? Coming forward, literally hands below his waist, walking forward like this, and I'm coming forward like putting everything into it. And Bobby Green would just, and just leave me there, soaked in my own blood. I'd be crying. I know I would be crying, and it would just be an awful performance. I don't want it to happen either. Now, let's move on to the welterweight division, though. Another painfully frustrating guy. It's similar to the Bobby Green thing. We got Michael Venom Page. Now, I was actually thinking of picking Uros Medic, just because I know that I know that an early slime out's good, but Uros, it would actually just be scary. Like, I'd be terrified 3 seconds in, I'm already out. But he actually might help me. I saw what he did for Jeff Neal. I don't know if you've seen in any of my videos. I'm constantly sneezing, messing around with my nose. Uros might be able to set that straight. So I had to go with someone else, and the next best was Michael Page. Because honestly, he makes fully trained fighters like Jared Cannonier swing at air, making him look terrible. And even if he has like that Sam Patterson type performance where it's just MVP dancing at range, just, you know, the stuff that he does where he's just, I know it looks really weird when all you can see is my shoulders, but I promise I'm doing an actual good MVP impression. But imagine everything you throw 5 bombs in a row, and you're thinking, hey, I know it's MVP, but this last bomb, it's going to land. Trust me, it's going to land. I would do that, and I would still be 5 meters away, and he would, like, flying knee KO Chris Cyborg, or not Chris Cyborg, different Cyborg, whatever his first name is, and he would just completely indent my forehead. Like, I would be that guy. And the way that MVP, I don't know if you realize, like, when he comes up against a cage, especially against Cannonier, he did this a lot. He sort of, like, coils up his uppercut, and, like, he really, really goes into it, or he does it with his knee, and he, like, really makes you think, oh, if I come in, he's going to fling the heaviest counter to me. If he does that to me, I'm not going to lie, like, although, don't get me wrong, absolute warrior I am. Absolute warrior, grit like no other. You ain't seen anything like it. If you did actually see, if I saw MVP coiling up that uppercut, I would be flinching like no one else. Like, you know when Manuel Torres knocked out Grant Dawson, and that last exchange, you see Grant, he's like, oh, no. That would be me every exchange. Every time I enter the pocket, that's just me. So I think I would just feel so humiliated. I'd probably get knocked down without actually getting punched. That's the thing, he's so fast. I'd be so scared. One shot would hit me, it would knock me down, he'd push me over after it. I'd be looking up at him like all disorientated, like, what did he even hit me with? And then upon getting back up, I'd realize, oh, I'm not actually going to see when he hits me. And then I'd just be pooing my pants the entire time. So maybe Michael Page isn't the one that I would want to be fighting. Moving on though, we've got the middleweight division. Think that you could probably guess this one as well. It's Nasruddin Imavov. Now, I'm starting to see a little bit of a trend here. The ones that I'm needing goggles to fight and like steel cups, those guys, they're really not good opponents for me. But Imavov especially, absolute nightmare. It'd be terrible because like MVP, he is so fast. Like, the hand speed of Imavov is easily the best in the middleweight division, maybe the middleweight division's history. And, like, let's say if I'm shooting bad takedowns on him, he's got a nasty sprawl as well. He's one of those fighters where, like, I would actually not be able to have a game plan going in. Now, MVP, like, Bobby Green, I would know, like, obviously they're going to out-wrestle me, but I am going to go for some wrestling there because I just know on the feet I've got nothing. But I know every single location in this fight that this goes, Imavov is pounding my head into the octagon. Like, it's just going to be bad. It's going to make me disorientated as soon as I shoot in and sprawl. He sprawls me. I'm going to be awful. He's going to be, like, making me lose my vision forever. And he's also much taller than me. So if a foul actually happens, I don't know if you remember the Joaquin Buckley-Imavov fight. He's going to make me feel like a little boy like he did to Buckley. It's going to be terrible. He's going to be coming towards me instead of Buckley, like, actually being a big guy, actually, like, pushing back against it. I will be like, no, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Like, after getting fouled, it would just be a performance that no one would want to see. Now, moving on to the next one, though, for the light heavyweight division. Now, for these heavier weight classes, it's kind of everyone. They're all double my weight. Like, no, Jan Blachowicz ain't double my weight, but in heavyweight, they get to almost being double my weight. I'm not 100 pounds. I swear to God, I'm not 100 pounds. What's that in Aussie terms? It's like 44 kilos or some shit. Or some shoot, sorry. Try not to swear, but for light heavyweight, a lot of you are going to be surprised, but it's Jan Blachowicz. People would pick like Yuri, they'd pick Carlos Solberg, they don't want to get flatlined early. But I think all of these guys would track me down way too fast and just flatline me. I'm basically a bantamweight. All of these guys would flatline me bad. But Jan, he's had so many injuries that he's a more plotty fighter naturally, and usually wins by a close decision. And like he'll outdo someone, he'll make it tricky for anyone, slow down the pace. And I think on my sheer like marathon ability, I'd be able to survive longer and like stay alive longer. But that's almost a bad thing in these matchups. Because offensively against Jan, I would have genuinely nothing. He's like 6 inches taller than me. I wouldn't be able to reach his chin at all. And then let's say I go for some of my really crafty low kicks that I go for against everyone. My foot is broken straight away. My leg is probably broken as well. So it's like a minute in, all I'm going to be able to get off is a couple of broken feet. I'm going for a couple of crafty inside and outside low kicks, smashing the knee of Jan Blachowicz. Then I'm hobbling around the octagon and he's hitting me with these body kicks that he was hitting Dominic Reyes with. And you slowly start, I say slowly, like 3 body kicks in, you're starting to see my ribs actually break. You're starting to see my lung get punctured. I'm running around the octagon. He's starting to jab my face up, but he doesn't have the shoulder dexterity to really put too much heat in it because I'm running away so fast. And the thing is that I'm now breaking, like my body is breaking. My feet will both be broken. My ribs are breaking. My lung is punctured. And now I'm just slowly, he's plodding towards me. And I'm just getting trapped further up against the cage. And that's just when the Polish power would defeat me. Like, against Yuri, he probably just counters me first minute or so, flatline KO, maybe first 10 seconds. Same with Carlos Solberg. Same with most guys in the division. But I think that Jan Blachowicz would genuinely be like, can't be bothered to chase this guy down. Let me just flatline KO. Let me just break every bone in his body and then flatline him when I can actually get to him without putting any effort into it. And that is embarrassing. Now, let's move on to the last one in the heavyweight division. Now, to be honest, there was more heavyweights that I'd prefer fight than light heavyweights, looking at the build of most of them. And this one's also going to surprise you, just from like the trend of the list so far. But I'm going to have to go with Alexander Volkov. Because a lot of you probably thought it was Cyril Gane, like the eye pokes. It's obviously horrendous fighting Cyril Gane. And whilst that would be awful, because he would stomp my legs, he would kick my legs, he would kick my body, kick me in the head, it would be jab my face into oblivion. But I'd almost prefer to like gun for the no contest. I'd almost run towards the eyes, because a Volkov fight would be the most humiliating fight on the list. Because he is actually genuinely almost a foot taller than me. So like, because he's listed at 6'7", I'm pretty sure he's 6'9". Like, I genuinely think he is 6'9". He's massive. And I think he could hold me... Oh, I spat on the camera. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll pretend that didn't happen. He would be able to hold me like that. And I would be punching like this, and I'd still be a meter away from him. It would be awful. And there's no running away. The octagon isn't big enough for me to escape Ivan... I was going to call him Ivan Drago. Alexander Volkov. And he's defensively super tricky as well. So, like, where am I going to win here? If I shoot, I'm literally... He doesn't even have to lift his knee up. I'm shooting into his knee. Like, I'm done for. There's nothing I can do. Let me know in each division, though, what you think of all of these ones. Who would you not like to fight in every division? As always, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment. And if you have any ideas for me coming up, any videos you would like to see, let me know. I'm happy to make anything. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.